Welcome back to the VHS Vault. I am VHS Chase, of course, right next to me, as it says there on the bottom, Jason Roy Gaston. And this is a bit of a special VHS Vault because it's not often that we do this where we're actually going to discuss a movie, A, that's come out opening weekend, and as this time dates it, we've seen it on opening weekend, and B, that we haven't said nothing to each other about this film at all. Like, not even anything in the chat. Nothing's been said. And as you can see from the thumbnail, we're doing Alien The Force Awakens tonight. I mean, Alien Romulus tonight. So I'm looking forward to discussing this with you, Jason, for sure. Now, you went and saw a preview screening, correct? Did you go to a preview?
I did. I wasn't really a preview screening. It was just like the initial soft launch that they have for movies nowadays. They do them Thursday nights. And I wanted to go see it before some jerkface on YouTube spoiled it in a thumbnail. And can we talk about it now?
Was it a packed cinema?
It was reasonably packed. It wasn't like packed, but I had people sitting to the right of me and the left of me, and I don't normally like that. So it was a respectable crowd.
Now we went and saw it. I went and saw it last night with my wife, and it was a packed crowd. And I'll be honest with you, Jason, two of my favorite genres to see at the movies with a crowd are horror films and comedies. So I was delighted to be able to go because it's just a reaction of the room. If it works, there's nothing else like it. Let's let the cat out of the bag. I think this film does work. I'm very split in it. There are some things that I absolutely love about this film. And there are things about this film that didn't sit well with me.
I'm in the same boat as you. I actually think this is the strongest Alien movie since James Cameron's turn. But it does have a third act problem. And I think that they went too far into the nostalgia a couple of times. And I'm pretty sure we probably have the same issue. So we'll just explore that.
We'll explore that. Well, I'll tell you what I thought I absolutely loved was the first 30 minutes of this film. When you're talking about the first half an hour, it was such a different approach to this universe, which I loved. I loved the mining colony. Everything around that mining colony I thought was great to be basically setting up the fact that were slaves. Indentured servitude.
It's, jobs that you can't leave. Indentured servitude. What did Jeff Goldblum call it? The slaves with jobs or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't call them slaves. Oh yes, prisoners with jobs.
Look, I really love. I think looked great. I love the fact they are on a planet. Even the little text at the bottom saying days with sunlight 0. On this very depressing, deep kind of thing. And I really like the character, the main actress. I actually thought she was very strong in this movie. I thought she handled herself very well. And then to have Andy. And for my opinion, Andy is the strongest character of this entire film. And works really, really well. So for the actual setup, I didn't mind, even though it's a bunch of teenagers. And so, in my mind, straight away, I'm going, okay, we are set up for a very traditional horror slasher spin to this, which I was all on board. What were your thoughts on the opening of this movie?
I was right there with you. I thought it opened in a very unique way for an Alien movie. Instantaneously, I really loved the bond between Rain and Andy. I loved that Andy was a childlike protector, and in that Rain protected him. And I don't know, something about a glitchy android to me was kind of a nice turn on things, because androids in the past have not been the most trustworthy. But with Andy, you just kind of get the feeling that everything is on his shoulder, and you just know where he's at all times. And of course that does change throughout the movie, which I almost saw as a victimization of the character, and it just made me love him even more.
And look, there's a lot of emotion around that too, because the fact that he was programmed by her dying father,
yes,
which added that extra emotional depth that you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't mind that the cast was young because I didn't see them as teenagers because nobody casts teenagers in anything because teenagers are gaunt and ugly. But you know, we got to have
Hollywood teenagers, then.
yeah,
Hollywood
Hollywood teenagers in their late 20s and early 30s. But yeah, I didn't like a lot of these characters. For example, Bjorn, complete douche canoe. I was kind of
Oh,
happy
yeah.
whenever he got canked, but
Mm.
I did appreciate how this movie gave each character a unique motivation and a unique goal. I don't remember any character from Covenant. I don't remember a single one except for the idiot who stuck his face in the egg. He's like the
Yeah.
only one I remember. I don't even remember the main character. I'm gonna
No.
remember these people though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember Navarro. I'm gonna remember Rain. I'm gonna remember them because each one of them wanted something. Each one of them had something that drove them. Each one of them had
Yeah.
reasons for why they did things. And it's just good writing. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just good writing with care.
It was a very relatable motivation for Rain. It's a very simple. It's the fact that she just wanted to go somewhere with sunlight. And to me,
I want to go where the people are. I want to see them dancing. Oh my God, this movie is The Little Mermaid.
But nevertheless, you know, really strong opening. And for me, now I've got a question for you because I'm a little bit confused about a certain element in this film. So I'm hoping you can explain it to me. If not, hopefully the internet can. So let me get this straight. They go to what they believe is a space station, right?
Yes.
Inside that space station is the remains of what they salvaged from Nostromo.
Yes.
Right. So, because there are certain scenes where we're going to the exact same rooms that we were in Alien. So I assume we are, aren't we? There's a couple of.
Well, no.
Rook.
Okay. Well, so I can see where you're confused.
Yes, I am confused.
So the company goes to the site where the Nostromo was destroyed, and we see that at the very beginning of the movie. Spoiler alert, by the way, everybody. And while they're there, they find the alien that Ripley shot with the thing, and that is what they're bringing on board. I guess it formed a chrysalis and was like floating out in space. So they bring it on board, and it's not dead. So it just like they're doing all these genetic experiments on it. They recreate face huggers, and then it wakes up, starts killing people. They shoot it, and its acid for blood burns through the floors and sucks all the air out.
Yeah,
and that's why the station was derelict. The I can't remember the android's name in this. The Ash 2.0.
Well, this is called Rook in this one, so it's
Rook,
different android.
Yeah, so Rook is different android, same model. It's kind of like the Bishop android from Alien 3.
Well, I think that's evident too, because if you remember Alien, when they do get back to him, they it's just a head. So they plug in and get that last bit of info out. But here we've got an entire torso, kind of.
Yes. That's
been clearly ripped in half by an alien. Okay, well, that clears that up for me. That helps, makes a little bit of sense. I thought it was beautiful, though. The whole planet with the ring around it, which normally would just be a visual element that adds a bit more to it, but it plays such an important role, that the ring around the planet, and it kind of gives you the ticking clock, which, you know, I've said a million times, I love a ticking clock. So that worked for me. I've got to talk about the things that kind of, after the first half an hour, this film sets up elements that are so predictable that I had a bit of a problem with, especially with the pregnant woman. I think that is so telegraphed, and it's telegraphed way before in the scene where we actually get to see the continued footage of the mouse that had been experimented on. So, and to me, that was just like, well, okay, that's very telegraphed. And as you were saying, and we could get right into it, they felt they needed to kind of, in the last two acts, just remake the entire Alien franchise and slam it all into one. Because there are bits of everything in there, you know? And And to me, I think the film suffers because of that. I mean, it was too heavy on the nostalgia, even down to the guns that the Marines use, to literally redoing the end of Alien Resurrection, because that is basically what they've done there. To the elements of Alien 3 in there. I mean, they've really kind of, and it's a shame because I really thought that first half an hour was so strong. And so I didn't know what they were doing. The whole idea of getting those cryo chambers and things, love all that stuff. I am into that stuff big time. But yeah, it's the certain elements and the beats. But in saying that too, and we'll get to it, there are some really great set pieces in this film.
Oh, absolutely.
Even in the third act. So
absolutely. I will say, I think that the nostalgia was just, it was too much. There was too much nostalgia. First of all, the deep faking of Ian Holm over the android. One, I just have moral problems with something like that. Two, it looked bad. It looked so bad. It was, if you had a problem with Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars Rogue One, good Lord, this is going to cause you to soil yourself. And to me, it didn't have to be that way, because we've already seen an Alien movie where they took an android based on a real person and used that, and it was like a puppet, and it was looked way better than this. You know what? If we had the voice, because the voice was a close match. I don't know if it was AI or if it was an impersonator. The voice was close enough where you could have had the face messed up. We would have known who it was. And it would have been subtle. It would have been tasteful. And it wouldn't have seemed so ghoulish. It just was
unnecessary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was completely unnecessary. But they were a slave to nostalgia here. There's another example where Andy saves Rain towards the end of the movie. She's about to get killed. But yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She's about to get killed by an alien. And he walks over with the gun, shoots the alien, says, "Get away from her. Shoot, 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 shoot. You bitch." Okay, number one, it was weird. It was poorly timed. And two, it was so totally out of character for Andy, who's this childlike person. You know what you could have done? Get away from her. Shoot, 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 shoot. We would have gotten it. We've been like, that's kind of like what they said in that other movie. We would have gotten it. It doesn't have to be like that. The whole bit about, I prefer the term artificial person. That was nice and subtle, because that sounds like something that would be programmed into them. I don't know. The nostalgia, I don't want to say it ruined it, but it definitely took you out of the movie several times.
It did. And that scene where you're talking about get away from her, it's just it's not even really a homage. It's a lessening of the power of that line in Aliens. I mean, in Aliens, she was a mother who lost her child, become a surrogate mother, has then, fighting an alien queen, which is a mother. There's a very strong female element into that. So when she says the line, there's a lot of power behind it. It made no logical sense for him to say that line in that way.
No, and plus, they've already done it in the Alien series. They've already reprised that line in Alien versus Predator. So it's like, how we're just going to defang Ripley's greatest moment over and over and over again. It was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. Yeah.
100%. The other elements that I think do work in this, and I do want to talk about some of the set pieces. I think they did an extraordinarily great job with the face huggers in this movie.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, the face huggers are fantastic, and there's a scene early on when they're all... Well, there's two scenes especially. There's one in the lab. I've got to love the British accent. They shot me in the water. Oh, I thought that was funny. And then though, when they're chasing down the hallway, really great, really tension-filled, wonderful.
I'm going to add another one to that. whenever Andy turns the temperature up in the hallway that they have to get down so that the face huggers cannot detect them, I thought that was a superb scene, both in execution and in the suspense, because you just felt that they were in a tight spot, and it just seemed like with every step they took, the bubble of protection that they built around them just got smaller and smaller and smaller. And I love, I'm gonna go with you, the ticking clock. First of all, I love how it's set up, because number one, a station getting sandpapered to death by the rings of a planet was not on my 2024 bingo card, but that was really cool.
Really
Two, characters make decisions in this movie not because they're stupid, not because the writers don't respect the audience, but because they have no choice.
Yeah.
Do we really have to go down this hallway with the killer face spiders? Well, we either do this or we die. Do we have to go down that dark corridor where I hear hissing at the end? Well, if we don't, we die. And that scene right there where they're sneaking through that hallway and the spiders are doing this, trying to detect them. Oh, it was like, I'm sure you got them down in Australia. I don't know. I was surprised you didn't have squirrels in Australia, but ticks will sit on blades of grass and do the same thing. And
they reminded me of huntsmen's. Huntsman spiders. That's what because huntsmen do that as well. They're very much feeling the way away. So I was like,
it's so funny.
I got them in my house.
It's so funny that you said that, because I'm gonna upload my solo review of this here just as soon as I can, and I make that same comparison. I said freaky big Australian spiders, and I couldn't remember what they were called at the time I was doing it. But yeah, but the best part of that whole sequence is whenever I can't remember, the pregnant woman calls, and she's asking for help, and you're thinking, don't talk, don't pick it up, don't talk. But as he's going along, you realize he didn't have a choice. That is his sister. He did not have a choice, and I love that. I love when characters
just found out that she was pregnant too.
I love it.
A lot of emotion for him in that moment.
I love it when characters are put in situations where they have no choice. I just love that. So that's why I'm saying, despite its failings in some areas, I think that its strengths are so much more prevalent that it's the best Alien movie since James Cameron's Aliens.
I won't disagree with that. Another set piece that I absolutely adore, and a mechanism in the movie, is the gravity purge. Really love the idea of the gravity purge, especially in the scene, and I don't care what anyone says, the shooting of the aliens and having to fly through the acid blood. It was a great idea and executed really well. I dug all that element for sure. And the fact that they just like, okay, I think we should back out of this room. Nope, they've got to go through it, because it is, it's an emotional decision to go through there, but it is still the right decision.
It is. And as I said, the characters have no choice. I love how this movie makes old things new again. It makes the face huggers. It doesn't really upgrade them, but it just puts more emphasis on them. And they're scary. I love how they do things with the androids, about how, putting this chip in Andy's head switches his personality. It's like, oh yeah, this android you love, I've got other priorities. And I love how it even
changes the prime directive. Yeah.
And I love how even just doing things with the acid blood in the hallway, it just seemed like, wow, this is such a cool idea. Oh, we have to turn the gravity off so the acid won't eat through the hull. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love it.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk about Ash, who we kind of mentioned earlier, which I believe is the strongest character to do this. So much love that upgrade. What's that upgrade, or the software? And I don't know who that actor is, but man, he is really strong, because he had to play, like you said, someone who seemed like on the spectrum. And then he had to turn into this very cold, science-based, corporate shrill. And it's really clear he did such a great job of defining those two versions of himself within it. And it's wonderful. And I didn't think she was going to go back. And I loved that she did go back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That bond was just, the love was very,
Yes,
strongly.
I did too, and it was a great character arc for her because if you remember from the beginning of the movie, she was prepared to leave him behind to get to where she
Yeah.
wanted to go, and throughout the whole movie, she still had that option, but she chose to go back at the end because that was her
Mm.
brother, and I just love that. I don't care. I'm taking you with me.
Yeah. And you know what? Now I think of it, you kind of said that. Love is very much an underpinning emotion throughout this entire
It
film too,
really is. Yes.
because the relationships of everyone there and what's really motivating them. So, and I thought that was a very cool thing for Fede Alvarez to do. Um, but yeah, the character of Ash, I can't harp on how strong he was as a character, and the fact that you emotionally are invested in an android from literally 5 minutes into this film is really great writing. It's really strong writing because, even with the previous versions of the android, David and Lance Henriksen and Ian Holm, to me, this android is someone that you could connect with so much more than I did those other versions of the Android. So of these androids. So yeah, hats off to that. Now third act gets a bit messy. It just seems if it was me, I think you could have cut 15 minutes out of the last third of this film.
I know exactly what 15 minutes I would cut too, because we've
Please
been
go
down that
ahead.
road and we didn't need to go back down it again. Why? Why are we revisiting the alien human hybrid? Haven't we? Okay, Alien Resurrection not only sailed that ship, but plowed it into an iceberg, set fire to the boat, and then sank it. Why are we
Mm.
doing this again?
I and I don't have an answer to that because I'm
No.
asking the same question too. Because at the end of the day, you may not have liked the execution in Alien Resurrection, but it's memorable.
Oh,
Everybody
I've
remembers
said
that.
actually liked the newborn in Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that if they wanted to save, okay, I'm going to back up.
Mm.
I think the thing that honestly makes the hybrid at the end of this movie really disturbing is the uncanny valley because it has a human face and it's just long and lanky and everything. And I thought, wow, that's really good. That was really the only thing that worked because I couldn't take it seriously as a serious threat. Now,
You know,
they were
yeah, go on.
close. They were close because whenever that egg opened and there was a baby in there, could you imagine if it had been the baby scurrying around?
I was hoping
That
to see
would
that.
that would have been. It didn't even have to be like a baby baby. It could have been like the equivalent of a 5-year-old or something. That would have
Yeah.
been rad. It would have been disturbing. It would have been different. But
Yeah.
no, I don't know for the
We
life
had
of
to
me.
make him 8 foot tall. And he
I
was kind of
just
like had a bit of a resemblance of the engineers too. I thought that's what
he
they were trying to
did.
do,
He did,
which,
and I just don't understand why they went down that route. On the other hand,
uh,
speaking of the engineers, I do want to say how stoked I was that they brought Prometheus into the lore of this movie as well. Whenever they brought in the black goo, and then you hear that
the music
background
cue.
music from the music cue
Yeah.
from Prometheus, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's awesome! Because
And then they even showed a
I'm a
little
I'm a Prometheus fan.
graphic
Yes,
of the actual, well,
and
the
then name
containers.
dropped the Prometheus. Yeah, I
Yeah.
and name dropped Wayland. I just
Yeah.
thought that was really cool, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I was kind of halfway expecting this to be a soft reboot. No, no, it's like no, this is still the same universe. It's still good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
all
I
happens
think
here.
that's where they need a big tick is the fact that they have, yeah, for the criticisms we have, maybe going too much with nostalgia, that where they placed it and in the timeline, I think it was very smart. And I think there are times where the nostalgia doesn't work, but then there are times when the nostalgia it does give more.
It
We
does.
actually got to see a bit more of the life cycle too of the alien
I know the
in
cocoon was cool. I was just like, what is
the
that? Oh, it's a
cocoon.
cocoon. Oh, that I've never seen that before, but it makes sense.
It's very H.R. Geiger like, if you
It
know what I
is. Oh
mean, in
no,
its design.
that
Yeah.
little kitty action in there.
Yeah. And yeah, even that moment where they're both trying to walk past it, and Captain Douchebag gets it finally.
Yes.
You
The
know,
Sight
which
Bjorn.
is yeah, yeah. And so I did appreciate that as well. I will say, in the cinema, it played very well. To one point when we did get to see that hybrid, there's just jump scare happens. The woman in front of us literally jumped 3 foot in the air. And I did enjoy that because I didn't really get any big jump scares from it myself. I suppose we're a bit old now, we're armored, and we're expecting jump scares.
We're dead
Um,
on the inside.
yeah, because we did nothing can scares us anymore. Yeah, it kind of worked. But if they had removed that hybrid scene that we've been talking about and really just kept focus on that station crushing into the rings, God, that was great. So good.
That was incredible.
Yeah,
That was
and
so
just
cool.
you could have kind of really worked that of juxtaposing them trying to get to the ship with that and that be it. You know, and the problem I also have with the hybrid too, it was telegraphed about 45 minutes into the film exactly what was going to happen.
Yep.
And so it's an element of I know we're getting to this. Can we just get over this bit?
Yeah, and
And
it's
I
something
think,
that I
yeah.
think I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that that's something that could have been easily fixed in writing, because
Yeah.
I just make her not pregnant. She's dying. She takes the goo out of desperation, and she becomes the hybrid. There you go. Nobody would have been expecting that. You
Well,
could have, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what they were setting up with that lab footage. And I thought that would have been a strong visual to see her start to bust out of her skin and, create, But yeah, I mean, honestly, this film is a 2-hour film. It's 119 minutes. And it just baffles me sometimes why studios feel like they need to hit that mark. Because I'm a big believer in a tight 90 minutes can really work. And this film, I'm telling you, wouldn't be not only getting the love it's getting at the moment, because it's getting some justified love, it would have jumped another tier. I'm telling
Yes.
you, and I reckon there's going to be a fan edit of this, which will prove that for sure. But I had a great time. I can't say I didn't have a great time in the movie, because I did have a great time. It was in retrospect, I was going, hang on a minute. I don't think I like this. Hang on a minute. This is bothering me. A bit confused on this bit. And so if there's any major issue with it is, as I said, The Force Awakens. As much as I love The Force Awakens, it doesn't hold up in repeat watchings. And that's always been my thought with that film. And I think this, because of what they did, it's great. It's like good junk food. In the moment, it's great. But afterwards, you're going, maybe that wasn't so good. So, but I do agree with you. I think it's undeniable. It is the strongest film since Aliens, just because it is a complete film. And, Fede Alvarez, who's known as a horror director, really handled those corridor scenes really well. He handled his characters really well because they were well defined and relatable, which is hard when you're doing a fantastical kind of concept of that. So overall, Jace, I would absolutely recommend people to go and see this if you are a fan of the Alien franchise. Both of us who have just gone through this journey of watching all the Alien films so far, it's nice to see the franchise in the state it is right now, because that's a really strong film. And so what does that say for the future? What do you do? I don't know. But I think what they proved is that you can slot these films in between other films and still make it work. So I don't know what they're going to do next. I think eventually we have to get them invading Earth, not Requiem invading Earth, but literally, the 23rd century version of Earth, I think. And I think that's what I would do with the Alien franchises now. If you're going to draw upon it, let's go back to full Aliens. Let's get the army involved again. Let's do a full invasion movie. Let's go big, spectacular, over the top. That would be my instinct if you were going to take this franchise further. But I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that it wasn't a pile of crap, because the first teaser trailer, did not blow me away at all. So,
I
I thought it
can
was good.
I can tell Mr. Alvarez has played Alien Isolation. Let me just put it that way.
Ha!
Because he
That's a
really
great
he
reference.
really captured the fear of just liminal space. And I
Yeah.
thought that was really good. I
Yeah.
I have a very high opinion of this movie, despite the fact that I think it has a third act problem and the nostalgia
Mm.
problem. I think that it is strong.
Mm.
It's the first time in a long time that I've actually found the aliens scary. And I think that's because they were very conservative with when they showed them and how they showed them. And there was no, at least that I could tell, there was no obvious CGI with the aliens. It seemed like it was all
Not at
practical.
all. Not at
And
all. Yeah.
it's amazing how much that helps. Now,
Yeah.
where they go next, I don't know. I'm I I'm a big proponent for them doing something different each movie,
Yeah.
going in a different direction.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to see a. I would kind of like to see, and you're going to think I'm crazy for saying this. I would like to see one done in the vein of a nature documentary, where people go out to find the aliens in their natural habitat and they film them, make it a hybrid of a regular movie and found footage,
Mm.
and maybe the man who's making the movie is kind of obsessive and he's going to get this footage no matter what, and eventually he loses control of everything, and yeah, make it a force
I
of
would, I
nature
would,
movie.
I would love to see more of the inside of the corporation
I
and the
would
workings of
too.
the corporation because I love the fact they built a myth around it and they built a lot of the franchise around this corporate identity. And I think it would be great to see the inside because you can have Wayland himself, who has the motivation and the idea to find the fountain of youth, because that's really what he's after. Um, but how about everyone else? How about the insidious? Look at Andor season one. That's a good example where they went into the Empire's more administrative side, and we got to see those lieutenants and offsiders who really make the darkness happen. And I think they could do that there. And the only thing I do want to say about the aliens that you mentioned as well, I will say this, and I love this about this film. They made their face huggers more terrifying than the alien in my book.
Because they are. I'm sorry, they are.
But they weren't in previous films for me.
No, because they were never a major thing. It was just like, oh,
Yeah,
face hugger,
there's one.
face egg. Yeah, that's it. One and
And
done.
dead. Yeah.
I loved how they basically turned the face huggers into a sub. Not really even like a sub to me. It's almost like they're the main bad guys in this one.
They're
And
the
that's
threat.
great. That's
They're
great.
the
I
threat.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, when they did use the aliens, they did it well, especially in that hallway scene where she
Mhm.
unloads and obviously we get all that acid blood. Which is, oh, by the way, the death of Captain Douchebag with the acid blood,
Yeah,
because we've never seen somebody melt away from that, and we're getting shots of when he's getting covered with his fingers melting away, his chest is melting away, and it was just all these. And I love that scene as a horror fan. Fantastic.
every character in this movie that did die had a pretty memorable death.
Yeah,
I
you're right.
remember. Yeah, I remember the final guy. I can't remember his name, but whenever he died, I was actually kind of shocked. I was like, "Whoa, whoa! I wasn't expecting that. Nobody's safe.
Yeah,
Nobody's safe." That's what I want to see more. Is I want to see more people who you think are going to be okay, not be okay.
yeah. Yeah, because that's always a great way. Because if you kill off someone you don't think is going to die, then you feel everybody's at stake here.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the main lead, and he's a good guy. He
Yeah, he was.
treats Andy with respect. He was very clear on what he wanted to do. Um, maybe he didn't do his research enough. Maybe should have taken a battery charger with you or something. I don't know. But yeah, no, really great, really great. And yeah, for everything we're picking on, the fact of the matter is what I think the brilliance is, and I think this is because we've got a middle-aged man disease, is you would suggest a young generation would be all over this. And it's a great way to bring those people in and go, oh, yeah, Alien, that's that old 80s film that dad makes me watch, to something that they would enjoy. And they got a lot out of. So, another big kudos to this film before we wrap it up is the budget. You know, movies are overblown in price and costing and things like this. This had a very conservative $80 million budget.
Oh, is that all? Wow.
That's it, which I love.
They got their money's worth out of this. I thought
It's
the budget
all
would
on
be at
screen.
least twice that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all on screen.
Love it.
So
Love
it
it
is guaranteed to be a very profitable movie in the franchise. So yeah, big ticks. That was really great. Like I said, even for all those nitpickings, if you hadn't seen all those other films, there's a lot in there, isn't there? There's a lot in there to absorb, and there's a lot of meat around it. So, yep, well done, great job. Thank God because the last time we saw an alien movie,
I wanted to die.
It was in this. Yeah, they were in the suburbs, correct?
Oh God.
Yeah. No, what am I thinking of? I'm just missing Ridley Scott's films. The Alien Covenant, which we've just tried to.
Yeah, that's the one that made me want to die too.
We were just we've kind of wrapping that out. You know. But yeah, did you see the note they put on? Fede Alvarez put on his social media a note from Ridley Scott.
I did see the note because I'm the one who sent it to you.
Yes, you are. You are. Sorry, apologize for that. If you haven't seen it, guys, go look it up. Fede Alvarez on Instagram or whatever. It's just a little note from Ridley Scott, but I thought
it's a very well written note, and I think it sums up everything perfectly.
So, Jason, that ends at this point our Alien retrospective.
It does.
Yeah, we will be revisiting those characters later. We will be moving now into the Predator, series of films, which myself, I'm really looking forward to seeing a couple of films that you haven't seen in this franchise.
I haven't seen the last two Predator movies. So
okay, that's going to be fantastic.
I was hurt. Oh, no, I take it back. I did see Prey, but I didn't see the two before that. So I was hurt. I didn't think I could love again. So we'll see if that's true or not.
We'll see if you can. But before we do that, we're doing another little mini retrospective here on the VHS Vault, Jace. Little mini one. I think we're both kids that grew up in the 80s, and one of the films that was so different and enjoyable was Beetlejuice. And as we know, Beetlejuice is getting its sequel.
Don't say it again. Don't say it again.
I can't. But we are going to revisit that franchise in a 1-2 punch coming up soon, where we will look at the first film, and then we will be doing, just like we've done here, opening weekend discussion on the sequel. So I'm excited for that. And we're trying to tee up a very special guest for that. I haven't spoken to the gentleman yet, but he's a big fan. I'm hoping we can get him on board.
He'll do anything for me. He'll do it.
That's it. So that's what's coming up. Excellent. Fantastic on the VHS Vault. Now, guys, if you like what we do here and really want to support us, Jason's going to let you know how you can become, a member of this crazy little thing we got going on here at the Jason Roy Gaston channel.
Member. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would be so kind, please direct your attention down to the video description where you will see a link to our Patreon. You can support us for as little as $5 a month, and we can continue bringing you quality programming such as the VHS Vault, The Power of J Skull, Breaking Wind, and Jalapeno, plus the independent things that I do on here, such as the amazing Saturday and His Amazing Friends, and Jason Watches, and a new show that I'm currently working on. Me and this guy have talked about it before, but I think it's time. It's time to get a little mad science-y about something.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Also, check out his travel log videos are really great. Thank you for... I obviously got to meet Jason in person for the first time a couple of months ago, and I brought something over to him. I had one request. Here is a data. Can you put it in your rock tumbler? It's one of my favorite videos. It's great. Check out those rock tumblers because they're silly, they're goofy, but they're hilarious and fascinating because you just don't know what's going to happen to these things.
Yeah, I love that I'm getting questions like, why do you put grit in them? You know, what's going on with that? I don't know. I just find that great. Plus, he actually gave me two things, and the other thing that I've rock tumbled will be out soon. Let's just say it's a little bit more hardy than Data was.
Yeah. I can believe the legs went back on him.
I was very surprised about that too, but you know, those new Playmates figures were not exactly the most well-made things.
That's true. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the VHS Vault. Got a new end screen.
Oh, that's pretty. Look at
It's
that.
pretty. Oh, but you know what's better is the shows that are on either side of this that you should be watching.
Absolutely. Look at that one. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
I
God,
can't
I
wait
can't
to watch
believe,
whatever those are.
can't believe
Where are my
YouTube let us put it up.
where are my cats at?
Oh yeah, I forgot to add the cats. They're
You
just so needy though, Jason. They keep sending me riders, and then they got agents. It's tough.